Alright, so we got this little laser device here for, we're going to use it for our hair, and it has this button on top which works like a mouse to get to the different settings. And you can start here and you flick it to the left and it gets to red, which is the variation of the laser. And then you go to all these preset settings for all these things: bone repair, burns, a whole range of maladies here. You get your choice of disease. Also, we can go, what we're going to do it for is for the hair. So you got organs, joints, skins, all these things that useful for. We're going to scroll on down to hair, and then it has these preset treatment plans for every day of the week. Let's start with this Sunday or Monday. Makes more sense. I'm going to press it to go. I'm going to get it in position above the bald head. And let it go. It's already pre-timed. And already the laser makes it look like I have more hair than nothing. If only the lasers were hairs themselves. I'm going to give it a little bit on that bald spot. I'm going to position it back here and get the back of the head. I think this is a good distance. You're going to spread it out, but keep all the lasers on your head. You can see when the lasers spread out, you can see the range of the lasers. Just want to keep that range above your scalp. Kind of looks like a little galaxy the way it's spread out, so you got to keep the galaxy right along the hairline. And hold, you can see it flashing a little bit there, pulsating lasers. It looks like a little yarmulke. Laser yarmulke. And each treatment is a few minutes in length. And we're going to do this solidly every day. All this to get your body amperage down into a negative 25 millivolts. Get the hair follicle stimulated for optimal growth. And one thing gotta remember, no matter how tempting it is, and even although it'll happen, even though you don't mean to do it, do not look at the laser in the eye. It'll happen, you'll want to do it, don't do it. That's it, that was the end of the treatment, pre-timed. And now we won't need to do 2 days at once, so you just scroll up for every day of the week and you got your treatment. So that's how we're going to stick to this treatment and see how it works. So we started up Tuesday just to test it out and see the differences in the laser pattern. And you can see it's similar in some ways, but the patterns of intensity and the probing, or strobing rather, is different. So this one seems to be pulsating more, and I imagine that it is similar to circuit training, and that the it'll change up and maybe be at a certain peak and then give you a break, so that you have a little more intense treatment on some days and less intense treatment on others, to keep your hair follicles in prime optimal state without overworking them and doing any damage. So we started up Tuesday just to test it out and see the differences in the laser pattern. And you can see it's similar in some ways, but the patterns of intensity and the probing, or strobing rather, is different. So this one seems to be pulsating more, and I imagine that it is similar to circuit training, and that the it'll change up and maybe be at a certain peak and then give you a break, so that you have a little more intense treatment on some days and less intense treatment on others, to keep your hair follicles in prime optimal state without overworking them and doing any damage.
Alright, so I wanted to bring this in here in this dark space so you can see kind of the patterns, the varying patterns of this laser treatment. And it's interesting, in this dark space it kind of looks like a planetarium with a circular constellation around the middle, a couple stars in the middle, but you can see that it spreads out circularly, that there's two central rings and a lot of random laser points. So it's pretty well distributed with the central focalized area, and kind of pretty to look at, as long as you don't look at it directly. Again, do not stare directly into the laser.
Alright, we are hooked up to the amp meter to test our amperage, to see how close we are to the optimal -25, which is what is optimal for hair growth for our follicles. You can see it's changing around a little bit. I'm hovering between 24, 25, and 30s, low 30s. So I guess I'm a little, my score is a little about -5 millivolts away from being ideal. But you can just pick up one of these amp meters and give yourself a quick test so that you can figure out the best kind of laser treatment for yourself. I certainly kind of want to know what you're getting into before you go ahead and pick out the laser product, because if you start off without knowing where your starting point is, you don't want to go over, you don't want to make something too weak, you don't want to make the treatment too strong. You just want to get yourself right, and as you can see, I'm balancing out here, and so eventually it will flatten out like that. But it's a real easy test, just to see where you're at. I'm going to give it a restart on the top of my head. You see it's jumping back up, but very weak here. A little different reading actually than at my temples. This one's around -15, which could be and explain why I have more baldness there. Tough to say.